أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا اللهم اجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه وشيعته وخدامه وأتباعه ولا تجعلنا من أعدائه بحق محمد وآله الطاهرين أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى قل هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون إنما يتذكر الألباب. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, O Messenger, you say to them, are those who know and those who do not know, are they alike? Surely those who are the people of intellect, only they will be mindful of this reality. Our discussion today will be about the importance of knowledge. In this series, we will talk about knowledge, its importance, and what is the type of knowledge which should be acquired, and other features and other aspects of this subject, inshaAllah Rahman. So in this ayat, Allah compares the ignorant and the learned and says, are they alike? Definitely they are not alike, because Allah is addressing the intellect of the people. And any wise person will say that a knowledgeable person and an ignorant person, both are not the same. They are different they are different. They are poles apart. And then Quran says, إِنَّمَا يَتَذَكَّرُ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. Only those who are the people of intellect, they will follow this point. They will understand this point. Otherwise, those who do not have any intellect, those who are not wise, in other words, if somebody is a fool, only a fool will not understand this reality. And in another ayat, Allah says that to elaborate upon this reality, Allah says in Surah Mujadila, this ayat was of Surah Zumar, ayat number 9. In the next verse, which is Surah Mujadila, ayat number 11, Allah says, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. Surely Allah has raised in degrees, Allah has raised in grades those amongst you who have believed and they have acquired, and those who have been given the knowledge. Those who have been given the knowledge, Allah has raised them in degrees. Allah has raised them in grades. It shows that Allah raises the level and elevates the position of the scholars. The only condition which Allah is laying over here, that they should be believers. They should believe in Allah. They should believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They should believe in the Imams alayhimus salam. And in other words, their beliefs should be in order. Their beliefs should be proper. And if their beliefs are proper, then Allah will definitely raise them in grades if they are knowledgeable. So knowledge is extremely important, and there are several traditions which talk about the importance of knowledge. Several. But of course, we do not have the time to talk about all those traditions. That is why we will just restrict ourselves to a few traditions so that the discussion becomes clear. As you all know that there are traditions which are there. Allama Majlisi Rizwanullah Ta'ala alayhi, the great scholar who expired in 1111 Hijri, 1111 Hijri, of the Hijri calendar. Allama Majlisi, he has written his magnum opus Bihar Anwar. In Bihar Anwar, in volume 1 and 2, he has talked only about knowledge and brought traditions about the importance and significance of knowledge. So much the religion of Islam, and especially Shiaism, has emphasized about knowledge. As the hadith says, Talabul ilmi farida ala kulli muslima muslima. Seeking knowledge is obligatory upon every Muslim, whether man or woman. It is wajib, it is farida. Because without ilm and without ma'rifah, Allah will not accept the ibadat, the worship of anybody. Regardless of what he does, without ma'rifah, everything is useless. And to sow the seeds of ma'rifat, it is necessary that a person should acquire knowledge. As Amirul Mu'mineen says, liqahul ma'rifat dirasatul ilm. Means you sow the seeds of ma'rifat by acquiring knowledge. Go and learn knowledge, and you will sow the seeds of cognition. So if somebody wants to have divine cognition, then it is extremely important that he should learn, that he should study, he should acquire knowledge under a very good teacher, so that he is aware of the various facets of religion which will be a cause for his bliss in this world as well as the hereafter. So Allah has raised those in degrees, those who have been given knowledge, of course, provided they are believers. Now, let us come to the traditions which talk about the excellence of knowledge. As I just mentioned to you that a tradition says that "Utlub al-ilm walau bis-sin." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that seek knowledge even if you have to go to China. You know, it was not in today's time that it's very easy that you take a flight and go to China. I mean, you reach in a few hours. In those times when you said China, it means go to another world. It was so far from Arabia, but you had to travel by sea. And then reach to China. It was like a very big journey, very long journey, very tedious, very tiresome, of many days, sometimes months. And then you would reach China. So that is why, to emphasize, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that acquire knowledge even if you have to go to China. So somebody asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, which knowledge Rasulullah was talking about? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said he was talking about ma'rifatun nafs, the knowledge of the self. Means acquire the knowledge of the self even if you have to go to China. He said ma'rifatun nafs. Why? وَفِيهِ مَعْرِفَةُ الرَّبِّ. Because in this is the knowledge of Allah. Means when you know yourself, you know Allah. When you know that you have been created, you will know your creator. It means this knowledge will take you to your creator. Anyhow, now let us see what is the excellence of knowledge in the words of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. We will try mostly to focus on the traditions of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhis salam, and if there are exceptions, we will mention about that. The first hadith, Amirul Mu'mineen says that Ra'sul Fada'il al-ilmu. Why we are focusing on the traditions of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhis salam? Of course, other Imams have also emphasized about knowledge. But why we are focusing? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Ana madinatul ilm wa aliyun babuha. I am the city of knowledge and Ali is its gate. فَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْمَدِينَةَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ فَلْيَأْتِهَا مِنْ بَابِهَا. Whoever desires knowledge, whoever desires to go to the city and to acquire wisdom and knowledge, then he should go through the gate. So Ali is the gate. Of course, all the Imams followed, after Amir Mu'mineen alayhi salam, those who followed Ali alayhi salam, they were also the gate of knowledge. But since Ali alayhi salam was the first, so we will talk mostly about his traditions. So Amir Mu'mineen in this hadith says, Ra'sul Fada'il al-ilm. The chief of all merits, of all excellences is knowledge. The chief of all excellences means a person may have everything in the world, but if he does not have knowledge, it means he does not have a very important thing, which is the chief of all excellences. And that is why he said, Ghayatul Fada'ili al-ilmu. The peak of all excellences, the peak of all merits is knowledge. And explaining these hadiths, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that, Inna khayra ma waras al-aba li abnahim al-adab lal-mal. The best thing which the fathers can give their children in inheritance is knowledge, not wealth. فَإِنَّ الْمَالِ يَذْهَبْ وَالْأَدَبْ يَبْقَى. Because wealth will be destroyed, but knowledge will remain. Knowledge will not be destroyed. And that is why now, coming back to the tradition of Amir Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he says that al-ilmu yunjid wal-hikmatu turshid. Knowledge helps, wisdom guides. How knowledge helps? Again, Amir Mu'mineen says, al-ilmu misbahul aqli, al-ilmu yunjidul fikra. Knowledge helps the thought processes. If you have knowledge, you can think properly. You can think rightly. If you have the right knowledge. For example, if we want to understand a case, a problem, we will come to the right conclusion only when we know all the facets, all the aspects of that matter. If we do not know all the facets and all the aspects of that matter, then we can never reach the right conclusion. So when a person has knowledge, then this knowledge helps him in coming to the right conclusion. He will know how to think, the right way of thinking. And al-ilm misbahul aql. Knowledge is the lamp of the intellect. Intellect is illuminated only with the help of knowledge. If knowledge is not there, then the intellect will never be illuminated. For example, we have these lights over here, okay, in this room. But suppose the light is there, but the buttons are not working, the switches are not working, the switches of the light are not working. Now, if the switches are not in order, then the light will not be illuminated, it will not come on. So it is necessary, it is essential that to illuminate this light, these switches should work. If these switches don't work, then this light will not be, it will be there, but it will not be illuminated, and hence it will be useless. So the intellect which Allah has given to man, if a person does not have knowledge, he will not be able to derive benefit from this intellect. This intellect will be useless for him. This intellect which is the biggest bounty of Allah to human beings. There is no bounty greater than the bounty of intellect. And that is why it is necessary. If somebody wants to utilize, it is necessary that he should have knowledge. That is why once a person was sitting with his consultant and he said to his friend to deride the consultant. The consultant was his advisor in his business and he was charging quite heftily. Because the consultant was a management consultant and he was having good knowledge of the business and he was knowing the way the markets work. With this businessman, he was having wealth, he was having money, but he did not know how to use this money. So, but still he thought that it's my wealth. And this consultant is charging me exorbitantly. So he said to his friend, in front of that consultant, who is a consultant? So his friend said, who? He said, how do you define a consultant? A consultant is a person who looks in your watch, tells you the time, and then charges for it. He looks in your watch, tells you the time, and then charges you for it. Immediately the consultant replied, this is because you have the watch, but you cannot see the time. You do not know how to look at the times. That is why maybe somebody has wealth, somebody has other assets, but he does not know how to use it. In the same way, Allah has given intellect to man, but if he does not have knowledge, he cannot use this intellect. And as a result, if a person who does not use his intellect, Quran has likened him, the Holy Quran has likened him to animals. And sometimes Quran says even worse than animals. They are worse than animals. They are worse than beasts. That is why it is very necessary that a person should have knowledge by which he can use his intellect and be a wise person. In another hadith, Amirul Mu'mineen says, Al-ilmu hijabun min al-afat. Knowledge is a veil, it is a protection from calamities. See, when a person has knowledge, he will know, he will understand the situations, and he will know how to protect himself from different unexpected events and incidents which may harm him. With the help of knowledge, he can visualize that what will come next. As an example, today, because of the scientific progress, the weather department, it warns the people of a tsunami, that there is a chance of a tsunami. So they evict the areas which are on the shore, so that the property or the people are at least they are safe and the property is not damaged. So they inform in advance and the people vacate that area. The people vacate that area. Or other such incidents where because of science and because of development, the people come to know that what may happen. Now, for example, there is a Google map, and you just go to the Google map, and with the help of that map, you come to know that how much time will it take to traverse this distance to reach to that destination. Which area is having traffic and which is the best route to reach that. How does this happen? With the help of knowledge. Of course, this is worldly knowledge, and here we are not talking about worldly knowledge, but just as an example that how it helps. Similarly, if we follow the Ahl Bayt alayhimus salam, then they can guide us in attaining eternal bliss. Amir al-Mu'mineen said many times, he said, Saluni qabla an tafqiduni. Ask me before you lose me. فَإِنِّي أَعْلَمُ بِطُرُقِ السَّمَاءِ مِنْ طُرُقِ الْأَرْضِ. Because I'm acquainted, I'm more aware of the ways of the skies than the ways of the earth. It does not mean he was not knowing the ways of the earth. What he was implying, that of course the ways of the earth, you can somehow reach to those places. But the ways of the skies, you are totally ignorant about them. You do not know them. And I will help you in attaining this bliss, this eternal bliss, to reach to paradise. But you have to come to me. You have to come and ask me. And you know those Arabs at that time, they were so ignorant that they would not ask any rational questions. They would ask some stupid, absurd questions. That, oh Ali, how many stars are there in the sky? Oh Ali, how many particles are there in the desert? Oh Ali, how many lice are there in my camel? And all such stupid questions which were not of any use, any benefit. They would ask such questions. Amir al-Mu'mineen salam, it is so frustrating that he would sometimes cry out loudly. And once he said, ya Kumail. He said to his companion Kumail, ya Kumail, inna hadhihi al-quluba awya, fakhayruha awaha. These hearts are like vessels, and the best heart is the one which has the maximum capacity. O Kumail, my heart is brimming with knowledge, but there is nobody to take it. It's a very lengthy hadith, inshallah, some other time we'll talk about it. But Ali salam said that my heart is brimming with knowledge, but there is nobody to receive this knowledge. Nobody to take this knowledge. Allahu Akbar. See the Mazdumiyah, see how Ali is oppressed. So Ali salam says, Al-ilmu hijabun min al-afat. Another hadith says, Al-ilmu jamalun la yakhfa. Knowledge is a beauty which cannot be concealed. It's a beauty. When somebody is knowledgeable, you come to know this person is knowledgeable and you can derive benefit from him. You can derive benefit from him. It's a beauty. It is 1,000 times or n times more beneficial than physical beauty. Because physical beauty vanishes, it diminishes with time. But the beauty of knowledge, it increases as the time increases. It increases as the time increases. And the more you distribute knowledge, the more knowledgeable you become. The more people you teach, the more knowledgeable you become. That is why I always recommend this to the brothers and sisters, that be obsessed with teaching whatever you know. Whatever you know. Of course, what you don't know, don't teach that. Whatever you know, you teach. The more you teach, the more you learn. Because when you teach, you realize that how much you know. And sometimes the students, they ask some very good questions. So with that, your knowledge increases, because then you go and do research. So it's a very good thing. And then another hadith, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, Al-ilmu zaynul aghniya wa ghina al-fuqara. Knowledge is the beauty of the rich people. Means if somebody is rich and he acquires knowledge, then it means this knowledge is the real beauty of that rich person, not his wealth. And ghina al-fuqara, and it is the wealth of the poor people. Means somebody is poor, but he acquires knowledge. With the help of this knowledge, he can reach to the position of self-sufficiency. He can attain self-sufficiency with the help of this knowledge. He can become a scientist, he can become a doctor, or he can be any, he can go to, acquire knowledge and reach to any position and then become self-sufficient. Knowledge is such a beautiful thing. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen as-salam says, and this hadith is amazing. It is amazing. He says that kafa bil ilmi sharafa. It is sufficient as an honor for knowledge. It is sufficient. Kafa bil ilmi sharafa. It is sufficient as an honor for knowledge. An yaddi'uhu man la yuhsinuh. That the one who does not have knowledge, he claims to be knowledgeable. Even somebody who does not have knowledge, he will try to show that he has knowledge. وَيَفْرَحُ إِنْ إِذَا نُسِبَ إِلَيْهِ. And when somebody attributes knowledge to him, he becomes happy. He's ignorant, he doesn't know much. But somebody says, oh mashallah, you are very knowledgeable. Alhamdulillah, I see that he becomes very happy. Even if the other guy maybe is pulling his leg also. But this guy becomes happy. That, oh, he said that I'm very knowledgeable, yeah. And you see, there are many people in the society who say, yeah. Actually I have knowledge, I have studied these books, and he has read only a few books. And he thinks that he has a lot of knowledge. But actually in Islam, the case is exactly the opposite. Hadith says that, Man qala ana alim fahuwa jahil. One who says that I'm alim, he is jahil. He is ignorant. One who says I'm scholar, I'm knowledgeable, he is ignorant. Because a really, truly knowledgeable person will never claim that he is knowledgeable. Why? Because the more knowledge he acquires, the more he realizes his ignorance. He realizes that he does not know, as Isaac Newton said that. While at the end of his life, Sir Isaac Newton says that while I am collecting pebbles on the seashore, the ocean of knowledge lies beyond. See, his whole life he has acquired knowledge. And now at the end of his life he's saying that I feel that my knowledge is nothing. I'm just collecting pebbles on the seashore. And the ocean of knowledge lies beyond. Amir al-Mu'mineen says that he becomes happy when knowledge is attributed to him. وَكَفَى بِالْجَهْلِ زَمَّا. And it is sufficient condemnation for ignorance that يَبْرَأُ مِنْهُ مَنْ هُوَ فِيهِ. That even the ignorant person, he distances himself from ignorance. And he doesn't want to be counted among the ignorant ones. For example, you make an announcement that tomorrow we are going to have a gathering and all the ignorant people gather in this place. All the ignoramuses, please come and gather. We are going to have a gathering of the ignorant people. You see how many people will turn up? Because even if he does, he knows that he does not know anything, he will not like to be counted amongst the ignorant ones. This beautiful, amazing hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen. That what is the honor of knowledge and what is the condemnation of ignorance. And then Janab Abu Zar al-Ghafari, the famous companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, he said that, Ya mubtaghil ilm, O seeker of knowledge, inna qalban laysa fihi shay'un min al-ilm. The heart which is devoid of any knowledge, which does not have any knowledge in it. The heart is like what? Kalbayt al-kharib la amira lahu. It is like a house which has turned to ruins, which has nothing, which is ruined. It is inhabited. It is not inhabited. Uninhabited. It is ruins. It is ruins. Nobody is living in that house. So the heart which does not have knowledge. Now, what is the value of the ruins? Generally, people don't like to go and stay in the ruins, right? Nobody wants to go and stay in the ruins. Nobody wants. Similarly, nobody wants to interact with an ignorant person. People like to always interact with the knowledgeable people. And the traditions also have emphasized about it. Hadith says that إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الْمُؤْمِنَ السَّمُوتَ فَادْنُوا مِنْهُ. When you see a mu'min, means a knowledgeable person, go near him. Go to him. فَإِنَّهُ يُلْقِ الْحِكْمَةِ. Because he will inspire you with wisdom. He will inspire you with wisdom. Okay? Means hadith has emphasized جَالِسُ الْعُلَمَا. Go and sit with the ulama. Be in the company of the ulama. Because anybody who is in the company of the scholars, then hadith says that very soon he will be from them. Of course, if he learns, if he acquires knowledge only then, not just sitting. But of course, it means to learn. It means to learn. Be in the company of the scholars and keep learning as much as you can. Because this knowledge is a very great bounty of Allah. Allah does not give to everybody. Allah gives this knowledge only to His selected servants. Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he says that إِذَا أَرْزَلَ اللَّهُ عَبْدًا حَذَرَ عَلَيْهِ الْعِلْمِ. It is there in Nahj Balagha, saying number 288. When Allah wants to degrade a servant, He wants to bring his level down, means He wants to insult him, then He deprives him of knowledge. Allah deprives him of knowledge. He is deprived of knowledge. Allah does not grant him knowledge. Allah does not grant him knowledge means what? It means that Allah does not give him the tawfiq that he acquires knowledge. Because ultimately, the tawfiq to study, to learn, to acquire knowledge is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because to acquire knowledge, there are many steps that are required. You need a good teacher, you need a good institution, you need a good atmosphere, a good environment. Many factors are required. So Allah is the one who provides all these factors. A good teacher, he teaches well. So you learn faster. He shows you how to learn fast, how to grow, how to develop fast. So when Allah wants to degrade a servant, He deprives him of knowledge. And that is why it is said that al-ilmu aslu kulli khair. Knowledge is the root of all goodness. And al-jahlu aslu kulli shar. And ignorance is the root of all evil. Knowledge is the root of all goodness. If you have knowledge, you come to know this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. Of course, it is not necessary, because knowledge is not the cause of goodness, or cause of actions. Knowledge is not the cause of actions. But knowledge facilitates in doing those actions, in doing good actions, because only if I know what is good, I will do it. I will not be compelled by knowledge. I will not be forced by knowledge. But at least I will know that this is good. But if I am totally ignorant, then I will not know what is good and what is bad. And the chances are more that I will follow the insinuations of the nafs ammara, of the self, and the whisperings of the Satan. The chances are more that I will fall a prey to the satanic whisperings, to the insinuations of the self. But if somebody has knowledge, then the knowledge will tell him, no, this is not the way to go. That is why Amir Mu'mineen says that knowledge is the root of all goodness and ignorance is the root of all evil. Then in the traditions, even more emphasis has been laid on knowledge, that knowledge is life. Somebody who does not have knowledge, he may be living apparently, but in reality, spiritually, he is dead. Spiritually, he is dead. He is not alive. Only the person who has knowledge, he is alive. That is why hadith says that al-ilmu hayatun. Knowledge is life. Al-imanu najatun. And iman, faith, is salvation. Faith is salvation. If somebody wants salvation, he should have the right beliefs. And to have the right beliefs, he must acquire knowledge. Because knowledge will illuminate his intellect. And his intellect will guide him to the right path. So this is the entire process. Knowledge illuminates the intellect. The intellect guides man to the right path. And when he comes to the right path, then he has right faith, right beliefs. And when he has right beliefs, he will have salvation. He will be saved. That is why Amir al-Mu'minin continues that Innal ilma hayatul qulub min al-jahl. Knowledge is the life of the hearts from ignorance. Hayatul qulub, life of the hearts from ignorance. Waziya'ul absar min al-dhulma. And it is the brightness of the eyes from darkness. Means without knowledge, a person may be having physical eyes, but he will be blind. Why? Because he does not have knowledge by which he can see things correctly in the right way. And hence, it is very essential that in order to be rightly guided, we have to have knowledge. Knowledge tells us who's right, who's wrong. Knowledge tells us, because knowledge illuminates the intellect. Now, when you see to the intellect, when you ask the intellect, you ask your wisdom that who is more eligible to be followed, a knowledgeable person or an ignorant person? What is the intellect answer? Obviously, a knowledgeable person. If somebody is ill, then he goes to a learned doctor. He does not go to a quack. Only ignoramuses, they go to quacks. But a wise, knowledgeable person will never go to a quack. And a wise person will always, he will go to the right doctor who is knowledgeable and who will prescribe the right medicines for him. Because he knows that this doctor is knowledgeable. In the same way, if somebody wants that his hereafter should be it should be like in paradise, and he should have good fortune of being in paradise, then he should go to those who have knowledge, those about whom Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that I am leaving behind you two precious things, the Quran and my Ahl Bayt. If you fasten into both of them, you will be guided. You will never be deviated after me, because these two will not be separated from each other. Till they meet me at the hawz. Now to conclude, I will say one tradition from Amir al-Mu'mineen from Nahj al-Balagha. About knowledge, he says, Behi means bil ilmi, through knowledge. Yuta'ur Rabbu wa yu'bad. Allah is obeyed and He is worshipped. Allah is obeyed and worshipped. Wa bihi tusalul arham. And through knowledge, bil ilm, relations are patched. You maintain relations with your relatives. Because knowledge says that you should have good relations with your relatives. Everybody has shortcomings, everybody has drawbacks, but knowledge says that no, Despite their drawbacks, you maintain relations with them. توصل الأرحام. وَبِهِ يُعْرَفُ الْحَلَالُ وَالْحَرَامُ. Through knowledge, the permissible and the prohibited are known. Means the Sharia is known. When a person is having knowledge, basic fundamental knowledge, at least he can read the Tawzul Masail of the Maraji, and he can distinguish between what is right and what is wrong. He will know from taharat, from purities to diya, to blood money, what are the rules of Islam? What are those things by which Allah is satisfied? And what are those actions which are the cause of the wrath of Allah, of the punishment of Allah? So he will act accordingly. That is why knowledge is the key. He will know the right way of worshipping. For example, I met a young boy in London, and because his family was not religious. They were not religious. And apparently in the house, the system of religion or Islam or prayers was not there. So I called him and said, do you pray? He said, yes, I pray. Of course I pray. He said that, I asked him that, how do you pray? He said, I pray 2 rakat in the morning and 2 in the evening. Wow, fantastic. Who taught you that? He said, I asked my dad and he told me that this is the way to worship Allah. That is sufficient. Okay. See, his dad has devised his own way of worship because even he does not know. This is the problem. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen says, Al-ilmu imamul amal. Knowledge is the leader of actions. Mean knowledge is ahead and action follows it. Without knowledge, there is nobody to guide the actions. And without knowledge of a person acts, then the more he acts, the further he becomes from the truth, from the destination. So that is why it is necessary to have knowledge. وَالْعَمَلُ تَابِعُهُ. And action follows knowledge. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen says, يُلْهِمُهُ السُّعَدَى. Allah inspires knowledge only to the fortunate ones. Su'ada means the fortunate ones, those who will go to paradise. وَيَحْرِمُهُ الْأَشْقِيَى. And Allah deprives the wretched ones of knowledge. Those who are going to go to Jahannam, Allah will deprive them. Apparently, even if they have read a lot of books, because knowledge is not something which is only in books, it should be practical, and it should be, because knowledge is light. Al-ilmu nur, yaghzifuhu Allah fi qalbi man yasha. Allah puts this light in the heart of whomsoever He pleases. Of course, there are conditions for it. فَتُوبَى لِمَنْ لَمْ يَحْرِمْهُ اللَّهُ مِنْهُ حَظًّا. So congratulations to the one whom Allah has not deprived of knowledge in his destiny, in his portion, which Allah has granted for him. That is why, come all of us, let us together pray that, O Allah, for the sake of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad alayhimus salam, please grant us the knowledge of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad alayhimus salam. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.